Hello, I've just been for a run and my nipples are hurting, but I'm going to just say, hey, it's me, I'm back, it's me. What's going on with me? Well, I've just read through the whole initial first draft of Rhino Men, made some notes, decided that a few things that need to change. I think there's some really good stuff. Lots of good stuff, and I think it's actually funny. I do think it's funny. But I'm far too British to sell it well, so just gonna have to trust me that it's really funny. I'm just not gonna go overboard in saying how funny it is, but I believe it to be funny, and I'm just asking you to judge me, the person who you barely know, that it's a funny book. Anyway, I'm going to do some reading about it. I'm going to read a scene, just a short scene today. And in the scene, so it's quite near the beginning. So Rydian Portcullis, he is Superman, essentially. He is the ultimate manly man. Super huge muscles. He's like Jack Reacher, which I've just read the first Jack Reacher book. It was very fun read. He's like Jack Reacher, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Rambo, all in one. Big drinking problem. His fiance got killed 6 months ago, and now he's been arm wrestling tonight in an underground arm wrestling arena, and this massive Rhino Man has come out of nowhere seemingly and caused pandemonium. It's killed people, it's gone crazy, and he's beaten the shit out of it, and now it's all calmed down. But suddenly, as he's trying to figure it out, what's going on, something happens, and this is where I'm going to read from. So picture the scene. He's in a nightclub, there's dead bodies all over the place, there's a big massive Rhino Man on the floor, and that's where we are. So Rydian froze mid-sentence. His incredibly sharp ears had alerted him to the fact that the sound of screaming was cutting through the club music. Dragonhawk Zero stopped doing push-ups for a moment to listen too. "What now?" asked Rydian rhetorically. "Watch these two," he said to Dragonhawk Zero, referencing the Rhino Man and Cigarilli, before striding with great purpose back onto the dance floor. It wasn't obvious that anything was wrong. Not 5 minutes shy of the Rhino Man's bloody rampage, and the majority of patrons had already resumed their hedonistic activities. Not surprising. It wasn't the first time an augmented humanoid specifically bred for armed combat had gone haywire at the old meat factory, and if Rydian had to bet, he would put $10,000 on it not being the last time that happened either. But where had the screams come from? Then Rydian caught it. In a corner booth, he saw a woman. She was dressed to the nines, but the effect was spoiled by the fact that she was squatting on the table in the booth and screaming at the top of her lungs. Was that piss gushing from her lower region? No. Rydian's keen eyes could easily tell the difference between run-of-the-mill piss and amniotic fluid. That woman was giving birth right here and right now. He jumped over the crowds of people which stood in his way, mentally thanking Cigarilli for picking a building with such high-ceilinged basement. Landing at the booth, he swiftly removed his still pristinely clean denim bandana, jacket, vest and trousers, folded them and passed them on to Chucky Balboza for safekeeping behind the bar. He'd rather they didn't get covered in amniotic fluid, excrement, and other detritus the woman would no doubt be secreting. Except for his cowboy boots, he now stood fully nude. His washboard stomach gleamed like a plastic He-Man doll in the colourful disco lights. "Where is your husband?" asked Rydian, after noticing her prominent wedding ring. He wouldn't have presumed that she was married otherwise. People choose to live their lives in all sorts of ways. That's what his old sensei had taught him when he was training karate in Tokyo as a boy. "He died 11 months ago," she said, clearly trying her best not to stare down at Rydian's genital gifts, before screaming again, "Ah!" 10 months ago, and it would have been possible for him to have impregnated you. "But 11 months? Tell me," he continued, pulling on the rubber gloves and stethoscope he kept taped to his back at all times. "Have you made love to any other virile men since your husband's passing?" "No, I would never dishonour his memory like that," she said, struggling to keep her eyes forward and not down towards Ridion's big crotch. Then my hunch was right. Ridion took the woman by the hand. This is some sort of immaculate conception. Don't worry, I'm going to get you through this. He clapped his hands and the DJ immediately cut the music in the club. Everyone stood still as the house lights came on. It's me again, Ridion Portcullis, spoke Ridion quietly, although the people in the club were so respectfully still that all were able to easily hear his authoritative murmurs. Can all the ladies in the club raise their hands if they are unexpectedly giving birth? Ridion continued, getting straight to the point. To his complete unsurprise, every single woman in the club raised their hands simultaneously. Please remain calm. What we have here is an as yet unexplained case of immaculate group conception. I would like to ask all gentlemen to help the ladies to the arm wrestling stage. Are there any doctors in the house? I'm a doctor, said one doctor. So am I, said another doctor. Me too, called out the third doctor. Great. That's a lot of doctors we have here, replied Ridion, pleased by the number of doctors. He wouldn't have to deliver 15 babies alone tonight. I'm also a doctor, said a fourth doctor, zipping up his trousers as he emerged from the men's restroom. Brilliant, said Ridion. That makes it 4 doctors in total. Some men helped escort the 13 women to the centre of the club and onto the stage, while the rest of them moved some of the corpses from the Rhino Man's rampage from 5 minutes ago to the fringes of the basement to make it a bit more hygienic. Chucky Balboza, the barman, brought out a few pillows for the lasses and a few stiff drinks for the doctors. The 13 mothers-to-be were made as comfortable as possible as the doctors began their work, holding their hands, suggesting the ladies push, etc. This isn't right, said one of the doctors 4 or 5 hours into the labours. What is the problem, doctor? Asked Ridion. This baby is crowning, but... He paused, unable to finish his sentence. Ridion barged the doctor out of the way, sending him falling over backwards and breaking his back. Fortunately, another doctor appeared from the crowd to tend to him. Ridion stared down at the woman's vulva. The doctor was correct. This wasn't right. Where a regular human baby's head should have been visible, there existed instead a baby Rhino Man's head, complete with tiny horn, flaring nostrils, and a miniature version of Ridion's own handsome eyes. Before he can consider what to do, the woman gave one last great push, sending the baby Rhino Man hurtling out of her nethers and into Ridion's great arms. Grey skin, acute wrinkled face, and beautiful wet curly hair prevented Ridion from immediately terminating the ill-begotten child. He gazed into its eyes. It looked just like him. Well, without the rhino snout, horn and grey skin. The woman who had just given birth to this bizarre child immediately reached for him, bringing him close to her chest and naming him Bobby. You can't keep him, Ridion said. He's too dangerous. Ridion! We need to help the other ladies, shouted one of the doctors. 13 births are a lot to handle for just 3 doctors plus you, Ridion, although I must say you've done the work of at least 3 doctors. Can you imagine if there had been more women in the club tonight? I don't think we could have handled more births, chimed in another of the doctors. Thank God tonight was a sausage fest, said Ridion. Well, that'll do for that. Yeah, so that's sort of where the Rhino Man contagion begins. So as you might imagine, the presence of a Rhino Man near to women, within about 10 to 12 meters, 50 meters, I believe I've said. Need to check the law, but when a woman comes near to a Rhino Man, she just becomes pregnant, just due to the unprecedented virility of their DNA. So that's how the sort of contagion begins, because as you can imagine, once there are more than one Rhino Man running around near women, then there's more and more being born, and yeah, there's a lot of Rhino Men to kill for Ridion. So there we go, that was just a little reading, and I'm starting my first round of proper edits on the book now, so I'm expecting a few months and I'll be properly finished and ready to start looking at publishing it. Anyway, Thanks for watching, and if you're new to this channel by some miracle, please subscribe if you like the idea of reading a very funny action, sci-fi, gory, stupid book. Thanks.